Oh, yes. Welcome back, folks. It's yet another episode of the Three Man Weave College Basketball Show presented by SportsBookReview.com. I'm Matt. To my right, Ky. To my left, Jim. It is a hearty slate of games today. Lots of conference tournaments kicking off. We'll get to all of them. Want to make sure we carve out a nice, large cushion for chat mob inquiries. But we kick off our show with a chat mob request. Shouts to Jonathan Goodman, a loyal chat mobster. He sent us a direct message on the Twitter tweets for two other chat mob villains. I just think it's appropriate that we read this. Ben Sports, Mr. Playtime, went 1-3 last night. I am a teacher and cannot be in the chat today. Please razz them for me. Jonathan, this is us delivering your message. Also, shouts to you as being a teacher, helping mold the young minds of men and women all across the country. If only we could have a career so fulfilling and so impactful, Ky. But yeah, when mobsters want us to deliver a message, we will do that. We can be that vessel, and we're proving that right now. So love getting some early pot stirring as the March Madness starts to heat up here. Before we begin, SPRodds.com, make sure you have that open on your second browser, tablet, phone, whatever you have. Line value is king. We'll be talking about all of those today. SPRpicks.com/NCAAB. It's right above us. So conveniently provided by the fine folks at SPR Sport. Plenty of good content, expert breakdown there. Before we get to the rundown, we got to talk about what we learned last night. Jim, I'm going to you first. Takeaway from Wednesday.
I'm going to probably steal half of your guys because I got a quick list. Mizzou has the Q1A record of a 1 seed at this point. UConn and Oregon, both very scary with healthy rosters. But guys, the ultimate takeaway has to be Colin Gillespie for Villanova. Bad knee injury. Came down looking weird, never returned to the game. Jay Wright called it serious afterwards. He's getting an MRI today. This could really shift the balance of power. Villanova, I don't know what you do with them without Gillespie.
Yeah, it sucks, Jim. We never want to see anybody go down, but Gillespie being the leader of that team, a Villanova team that certainly has a chance at the Final Four this year. Just tragic. Also, senior night, I believe, to boot. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, shifting conversation back to Mizzou, Jim. Just want to point out Mizzou. Yeah, pretty good resume, guys. 7-4 against Q1, 5-1 Q1A. Number 5 strength of schedule. No bad losses. Jim, the resume is good. It's beautiful. It's sterling. Yes, we might get a 5 seed and lose to a 12, but at this moment, our resume is awesome, and I'm loving being a Tiger currently. Matthew Cox.
Yeah, I'm getting nightmares thinking about the first round Mizzou early exit at the hands of Florida State in Vegas with all the Mizzou crews. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen this year. I will be putting my black and gold on. My takeaway, just a general observation from my own personal performance. I went back and revisited all of my leans from yesterday's show. Did not do very well, very poorly on all of my leans. As a broader observation, I just think this time of year where you have the last or second to last games of the regular season, the motivational angle, the randomness is just so large. I'm trying to tread very lightly with playing these games at a high volume. I would advise you do the same. I've diverted my focus and attention to these conference tournaments, which we'll get to today. So just kind of a cautionary tale there from my own personal experience and my performance the last week on sort of these non-conference tournament, what's going to happen games down the stretch. Let's get into it, though. We got a couple of rivalry games to kick off our outline here. First, a battle of the mitten. Michigan State at Michigan. It's a tough spot here for little brother Ky, Michigan State, because Big Bro going to be angry after getting the doors beat off of their whatever by Illinois, sans Io DeSumo. A very embarrassing effort by the Wolverines for their standards, which are as lofty as any this season. What are you looking at in this one tonight?
Yeah, if you're Michigan State, you need both these games. You need both the games in the series against Michigan. You need to win them both to make the tournament. Is it realistic? Probably not. I don't even know if they can get one here. But what a story it would be on a national scale if Sparty, led by Tom Izzo, wins both these games against Michigan and crashes the dance. My question is, how does Michigan respond after a huge loss? Well, Jim, last time they lost this year, they beat Maryland by 24 in the next game. So they have the capability of responding quite well. I don't see how Sparty scores it all. And, Jim, I don't see how Sparty stops Hunter Dickinson.
That's the key. To me, that's been like the key of unraveling Michigan's offense. Kofi Coburn, a massive 7-foot, 290-pound human, is able to guard Dickinson one-on-one, but Michigan State doesn't have anybody like that. They can roll out Kithier, they can roll out Marble, they can roll out Bingham, Sissoko, None of those guys have the size to withstand Dickinson's footwork and really just the way he uses his strength. And then you got to start doubling. When you double and you rotate against this Michigan team, they can pick you apart. They're too precise with their passing. They're too smart. They hit too many jump shots. Yeah, I think this one's, normally I would probably say 12 is just too high as a number. But, man, Michigan angry off that loss and nothing to do against Dickinson. Matt, I gotta just stay away here.
Yeah, we again saw that sharp money coming on Sparty. Opened at 13, now down to 12. I made it 11. I'm just glad I don't have to tempt my fate into fading the Michigan Wolverines off a devastating loss. Does not sound like a recipe for success. All right, next up here, the Red River rematch. Texas at Oklahoma. OU did win the first meeting way back on January 26th, a game that they controlled, by the way. So if you're looking for prior games precedents as, crystal ball into what's going to happen, I think you got to give the slight edge to Oklahoma from that angle. However, Ky, they have lost 3 in a row. I wouldn't say they're leveling off, but maybe starting to plateau. They played so well to start, were almost lights out for most of the conference season, but, kind of falling on hard times here late. What are you looking at here in this match?
Yeah, spot-wise, I guess you have to like the team coming off 3 straight losses. A good team, by the way, in Oklahoma, not just a crap team that's just bad all of a sudden. OU is obviously a very, very good team. They had a major hot streak before going on that 3-game skid. OU did also beat Texas, though, in Game 1, and Texas was without Sims and Ramey in that game. Little revenge on Texas's mind, now full strength. Texas, Jim, we talked about a little bit on one of our outlets here, down to 26 in KenPom, actually currently worse than they were 2 years ago when they missed the dance in KenPom's rankings. Kind of interesting. I lean Sooners in this one, -2. Not very confident, though, Jim.
Yeah, I actually kind of like the Sooners here. I'm not quite in numerically where I should make it a show play, but yeah. I think I'm going to do it anyways, guys. I'm going to take Oklahoma -2.
Okay.
Matt, I just shocked you there. How about that?
I just love that we kind of talk ourselves into plays live on the show. We're so convincing.
I don't really, discredit Oklahoma at all for their performances against Oklahoma State. They got an absolutely nuclear game from Cade Cunningham in the first one, then on the road hung right around and couldn't quite get there late in that one. Yeah, Ky, I think to your point, Texas has been a little less impressive lately, fallen down the rankings some.
Yeah.
They've obviously had those backcourt arguments. We don't, it doesn't seem like it's really going on anymore, but they don't give me the warm and fuzzies. And OU, off 3 losses, I think they get back in shape tonight. So I will take Oklahoma -2, Matt.
Love it, Jim. Yeah, I think Texas is finally coming back down to where we had them preseason, right? They're not really a top 5, top 10 team like they show in the non-conference MTEs. They're playing more like a fringe top 20 team, which is, about where we had them pegged. So I agree with that anecdote, Jim. Let's move on here. Arizona State at Colorado is next up on, Oklahoma State at Baylor, excuse me. I'm jumping the gun to get to Pac-12. Who cares? Oklahoma State at Baylor. The Bears starting to find their mojo a little bit here. Crazy win in Morgantown. Back and forth shot making at the highest level. But meanwhile, the Pokes have had their mojo pretty much the entire season, especially as of late. They swept Bedlam, beat a good Texas Tech team, although a team that's fallen on some hard times as well. Jim, I'm kind of looking at the matchup here against Cade, right? You got the no-middle defense for Baylor, multiple guys that throw at him. It seems like they're the perfect kryptonite to stop Cade, but it's still Cade, and he's a generational talent who is, worthy of rendering all that irrelevant. What are you looking at here?
Well, spot-wise, it's tough for both. I mean, Oklahoma State just played 2 Herculean efforts against their Bedlam rival. Baylor coming off short rest after that win on the road at West Virginia in overtime. So it's weird for that. It's hard to get a sense from either lens that way. Matchup-wise, I do think the point about Cade is spot on, and really Vital is the key one on him because he has the strength, the size to match up with him. I think if you put Jared Butler or Davion Mitchell on him, Cade can bully them a little bit inside. But I've been impressed with Oklahoma State's complementary pieces. They cut well. They've hit enough shots. I mean, Cunningham had no field goals in the first half against Oklahoma in the second matchup, and they were still winning at halftime. So they've stepped up and made kind of a name for themselves. Ky, I think 12 is probably too many, but just coming off those 2 Bedlam games, I'm not quite going to back it here.
Yeah, Oklahoma State, man, 5 straight wins. No Likely in 4 of those games. Almost playing better without him. Clearly, Cade Cunningham, Yeah, Jim. I mean, maybe a hot take.
No, you might be right. You might be right.
Yeah. Cade Cunningham, obviously, most talented player on the floor every time he steps on the floor. Baylor's just a different animal. We talked about how they are kind of a tier with Gonzaga, maybe if you want to include Michigan on there in terms of the entire country. They have so many weapons, and they're off 3 kind of just meh efforts. They probably should have lost to West Virginia. They did lose to Kansas, nearly lost to Iowa State. Baylor, I'm not sure if that's a trend or if that's due to come back here. I agree, though. 12 feels like too many. I lean the Pokes. I think they really get up for this game and continue this ATS streak they're on.
Agree, lean Pokes, but I'm worried that if you're going to take that side, Baylor is going to get back to where they were pre-COVID shutdown, and I think they're on that path right now. So not looking to get in the way in that momentum at all.
First match between these two, Cade did not play, and Oklahoma State still hung around for like
whole game,
33 minutes, and then Baylor completely, hit the gas late. But with him back, it seems like they can hang around.
I would agree, Jim. Next game, I want to get through this quickly because we have a lot of conference tournament games to get through in the chat mob inquiries. I'm going to appoint one of you as a czar right now. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
I already got it.
Kai, he's already taken it. Thank you. God bless you. Proactiveness.
I don't know if you're doing a bit or you're just like not sure.
I'm not really sure. It is a bit. Arizona State at Colorado. Let's talk some somewhat irrelevant Pac-12 hoops, folks. But hey, the key thing here, sound the alarms. Marcus Bagley is set to return. That's the big storyline in this matchup here for the Sun Devils. Josh Christopher is still out. This is the first meeting between these two this season. I am still terrified about how Arizona State's going to defend the Buffs' interior beast. I don't see much resistance at all here, Kai. Do you think Bagley's the difference maker, or do you still think this is a bloodbath inside?
Yeah. Colorado tourney bound, Devils not so much. You look at Arizona State's 3-game win streak, but it's against the Washington schools. Kind of good situations for them. They should be good. I just have no confidence in them on the road, especially at Colorado, of all places. Tough place to play. Arizona State's 0-4 this year in the Pac-12 on the road. The Buffs always handle pressure well, Jim. You're not going to pressure McKinley, Wright, and company. You're not going to bother them. And yeah, that Batty Walton interior advantage, it's too much, I think. So I do lean towards Colorado here, even at -10.
Yeah, getting Jalen Graham back is helpful for Arizona State. He had missed the first Washington game. He's played the last 2. He can at least do some sort of battle with Batty inside. But, yeah, a little bit shorthanded with no Christopher, no Bagley, going to altitude against Colorado, who still has plenty to play for. I would lean towards Colorado here. I think it's a hair low, but I'm not going to add it officially on the show. Matthew?
Yeah, Arizona State is 11th in the Pac-12 in defensive rebounding, and they foul at the second highest rate. I just think those are 2 areas where Buffalo will take advantage. They'll get second, third chances on the glass, and they
Colorado,
do not miss free throws.
Literally, best free throw shooting team in the country.
The whole team, up and down the lineup, they all make. I don't think it's an anomaly either. They all just can make throws. So no regression for us there, in my opinion. All right, chat mob questions. Kai, let's run through them.
Let's do it. In fact, let's start with Richmond and Duquesne.
Nope, that's on the outline.
Oh, I'm sorry. Guys, I'm already messed up golly, tell you what.
We're having fun this morning.
I know. It's staring me right in the face, too. It's like right in front of my face. St. Joe's and UMass instead. Same conference. A lot of love for Ryan Daly yesterday and today in the chat mob. Going against UMass, a team that's been, we'll say hit or miss this year, but Trey Mitchell's been in and out of the lineup. Matthew, any opinion on this game?
Yeah, I was going to actually take the over just because I don't understand how either team stops one another. St. Joe's interior defense is downy soft, and Ryan Daly he's a walking bucket. No one can stop him. He'll sail through multiple guys at him. He still carved his way into the lane and got buckets at will, makes everything around, or all the players around them's lives easier. But no official play here for me. I think the line's pretty accurate at 3.
Yeah, it's kind of the same way I feel. It's been bet up a little bit. This is the 3rd game in 4 days for a shorthanded St. Joe's team. They got Longpre back yesterday, but he immediately got hurt again because he's made out of glass. So they're basically rolling with 6 guys, 3 games in 4 days, playing like they're all playoff games. That's a tough spot for them. They might get Jack Forrest back, who was maybe going to be out for the year, but I guess he's going to make a go of it today. But that's not enough for me to back St. Joe's. So I think it's probably a stay away.
And also early start too, Jim. You called that as sort of a concern for my overtake yesterday in the same spot. So props to you. Same situation today. Kai, sorry.
We're going Liberty and Kennesaw State for some A-Sun action. Obviously a very big spread, but it's Liberty. and it's Kennesaw State. So I'm leaning Liberty, Jim, and that's not really even looking at the line.
I'm leaning Kennesaw. It's big. It's like 17 and a half. Kennesaw takes away the 3 ball. They won 2 of their last 4 games. They're playing much better. And they did the first leg at Liberty this year. They only lost by 6. So they can compete with this team as long as they D up, they find enough buckets. It's a low total, high spread game. So I usually lean towards the dog, especially in the postseason, because Matt, we know these big dogs, they're desperate. There's no reason to roll over.
Yeah, we saw Kennesaw make multiple large second half runs this season. I think this is a prime situation where they could do that again. And they already did it, as you mentioned, to Liberty earlier this season already. So I do like the Owls.
Let's move on to Dayton and Rhode Island from Daryl. Guys, my first reaction, spread's high. About 4 points right now. It feels a little bit too high. I do think Dayton's going to win this game. Jim and I were talking about it pre-show. But it's too many points, in my opinion. I lean towards URI.
I agree. I think it should be around 1-2, even with Dayton getting Chapman back and with how badly Rhode Island's played the last 2 games. They've guarded nobody. I think the line somewhat reflects that. I think that's reflected in the steam from -2 on the opener to -4 now. If it hits -5 Dayton, I'm probably going to come back in as a counterpuncher on the Rams here. Sort of close my eyes type bet.
All right, moving on to Ed for Campbell and Radford. Big South battle in the Big South tournament. Spread feels just a tad low for me, Jim. I'm going to lean towards Radford in this game. Nothing strong, though.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to actually adding Radford, but Campbell's been really solid lately. The thing is, down the stretch, they hit a bank 3 against who they played, Gardner-Webb last game. They had some good fortune to win that game. So actually, I am going to take Radford -2. I do think it's too low. I think they're the slightly better team, and they're at home here. So yeah, I'll go Highlanders -2.
Strange spread, right? I think it's kind of a weird spread. Moving on, Larry asked about Vanderbilt and Cincinnati. Automatically, you have to think Vanderbilt injuries. Dylan Disu, Scottie Pippen Jr., probably both out. 2 best players. Jim, that spells kind of disaster. Certainly don't like Cincy too much as a -6 favorite, but they took care of business last time. They're a favorite of this size. I lean towards the Bearcats.
Yeah, and LSU was, rolling over Vanderbilt in their last game without Disu and Pippen, but it's Cincinnati's a favorite. I think that maybe there's some value on the under because Vanderbilt not going to have really the incentive to run up and down as much without their 2 best scorers, but it's a hard stay away. Weird non-conference game at this point in the season.
All right, Jay asks about Weber State and Northern Colorado. Another game that feels high to me, Matt, the spread. It's around 10. And Weber State, though,
yes, I agree.
They're just too good at home. I'm a little afraid to fade them at the D. So I'm staying away with a slight number lean, we'll say, to the Bears.
Yeah, Trayshawn Smoots, I believe, still out for Northern Colorado. A key starter for them, knockdown shooter, but they've been without him for a few games recently. I agree with you. I'm very tempted to take Northern Colorado. But back to my initial opening thought of today's show, I'm just trying to tread lightly on any of these non-conference tournament, sort of last game of season type spots. So no play for me, even though there's a strong price advantage, I believe, on Northern Colorado.
Moving on to Zach. He asks about McNeese State and Nichols. Got some Southland action here.
McD State, baby.
Well, Matt, any opinion on McD State?
They don't play any defense. They are McDeese on offense. They are not so McDeese on defense. I think Nichols can run up the score here. So even though it's a high number, I think it'll play that way with the pace and McNeese's sort of apathy toward guarding people.
This is Nichols' season finale. They're still playing for the Southland regular season title and the 1 seed. They're one of many 2-loss teams in that league. So I think it's hard to back a worse team against a should-be-motivated favorite here.
Moving on to Barry. He asks about St. Peter's and Quinnipiac. We were hopping back to the MAC part of the country. Nothing strong here, Jim, for me. I guess I lean towards St. Peter's, tend to lean towards the better team in these MAC matchups, but it's so unpredictable this season.
Yeah, a little bit of lean to Peters, but hate them as a favorite because they can't score. I just want to say, Barry, don't call me horrible. That hurt my feelings. I thought we were friends. How dare you? How dare you?
Chat Mob latches on to one game, and they'll base their opinion on you based on that one game. Gotta
get them right.
Let's go. Let's go one more. Hey, best bets are 8-1 this week. Just letting you know.
Hey.
I know. I wasn't going to talk about it, but
on all the
someone's got to say something. All right. How about John Winthrop versus Longwood? Big South tournament once again. Yeah. I'm leaning Winthrop. Nothing strong, Matthew.
Yeah, I just can't bet against Longwood because every time I do that, that's a loss for me. So just out of that stupid principle of annoyance of betting against Griff Aldridge and the Lancers, I will not. But I think Winthrop's probably the right side here.
All right. Yeah. back to the rundown, guys. Go ahead.
Well, we'll stay right there and not right there, I guess, within the conference tournament realm here with our next game on the outline as we almost got to in the chat mob inquiries. Richmond against Duquesne. The Spiders, big breaking news that just got released in the early part of our show. Blake Francis is officially out today with a hip injury. The other domino that still has yet to fall, Grant Golden, the interior anchor of this team on both ends of the floor, did not play late in that St. Joe's game. He has a dislocated or broken finger that's already been confirmed that he will require surgery after the season's over. He's playing third right now. So even if he goes today, Jim, he won't be at 100%. And if you looked at this team down the stretch against St. Joe's without those two, did not look anywhere near the caliber of squad that we saw early in the season. I am very worried for the Spiders here against a pretty, potent Duquesne team.
Yeah, I think the money coming in is correct. Betting it down to 3.5 right now. It's tough for Richmond. I mean, we mentioned the preseason. We're like, we love the starting five, but then Nick Sherrod got hurt. Now you take out Blake Francis too. Golden banged up. Yeah. They're losing. I mean, it's supposed to be this like 5 senior lineup, but now a team with very little depth is going to have to use a bunch of bench minutes. So I would probably lean towards Duquesne here. It is a bummer because this Richmond season was so promising, Ky.
It does suck, Jim. I really wanted them to make a run. Too much talent not to, but what can you do with injuries? Sometimes that just derails you. Unfortunately, it's happened to Richmond before. It's happened to Chris Mooney before. So, yeah, you got to feel for him. Somehow they ended up as the 8th seed in this tournament. That's strange, too. I'm not super confident in Duquesne by any means, but it'd be hard to back Richmond with all the injury trouble they're having right now, Matt.
Yeah, and honestly, their most reliable source of offense was Nathan Cahill. He was a beast inside against St. Joe's, but Marcus Weathers for Duquesne is a bell cow. You're not going to move him around. So not a lot going for the Itsy Bitsy Spiders here, but I am pulling for Mr. Mooney. I hope he gets out of this one, but this does not set up well for success. All right, some more conference tournament action. We're going to the Ohio Valley Conference here. Murray State at Jacksonville State. I believe we might have the best bet here. No, I'm sorry. I'm confusing that with the other OVC shutdown. Spoiler revoked. The odds makers, though, giving a ton of respect to the Gamecocks in the opener, and the early market money was not buying it. Opened at Murray minus 1.5. They got bet up to Murray minus 2.5. We've been Gamecock guys all season. Although, Ky, I would argue this opener was a little short, even as good as the Cocks have been so far.
Disappointing season for Murray. This is their chance at a reset button. They lost to Tennessee Tech last game. I just feel like they're just kind of like, all right, regular season's over. Let's get out of the way. Jacksonville State had a great year, 13-6 in the OVC. North Carolina transfer Brandon Huffman, certainly a huge reason why. Jacksonville State swept Murray State this year. Murray State just hasn't been able to stop Jacksonville State on defense. But the Gamecocks are 22 for 44 from 3 in both those games. Have to think that has to regress. I'm betting on Tevin Brown here, Jim, in a tournament setting. He's the best player on Murray State and a guy that can definitely lead them to a deep run. So I'm definitely leaning towards Murray State here at minus 2.5.
Yeah, if Murray State was fully healthy, I think I'd be in on the Racers as a show play here. But no Damon Robinson is a concern. They can't defend inside. Nguzemi and Brandon Huffman, the 2 Power 6 transfers, combined for 33 points inside last time against Murray State, and that was with Robinson. So with him not on the floor, I can't back him. This one's kind of a shrug to me. I think both these teams are solid. Murray State's more underperforming, but yeah, maybe they make a run in the postseason because it is backs against the wall time, but I can't trust them.
Yeah, classic.
Line up to 3.5 now, I guess, per a chat mobber. Yeah. Well, probably stay away.
I made it 4.5, but this is a classic price discrepancy with matchup. You guys mentioned all the matchup concerns for Murray, so I'm trying to put more stock in those now that we're in conference tournament time, and give the big fat middle finger to my number at 4.5. So I will not be taking Murray. Last game on the outline, way out west we go. San Diego versus San Francisco, one of the openers in the WCC tournament. Got to feel bad for these teams. You're going to have to play effectively, I think, 4 games or 5 games in 5 days. To win it, but let's be honest, no one's beating Gonzaga, so this is all sort of just feels like an exhibition in some regards. Ky, the spread opened -8 here. We've been Don believers all season. I made this game -10. I think there's some value here on San Francisco. Do you agree?
Yeah, they're just kind of falling off, man. Lost 6 straight to end the year in the WCC. That's not good. Curious, they are ranked pretty high in KenPom compared to their actual seed. They're 4th in the WCC per KenPom, actually an 8 seed, though, in the tournament. I don't know. I just can't see this team. Well, they're not going to lose San Diego, in my opinion, but neither of these teams have played well all year. It's kind of just a major stay away from me, Jim.
Yeah, San Francisco, I think, has really struggled with size. The BYU's, Loyola Marymount's, Santa Clara's of the world have frustrated them because of their length, their beef inside. But the Dons, yeah, they had the COVID shutdown and then lost 5 straight. I kind of see this as like them looking at it. All right, we get to just throw that out the window. It's time to reset. I mean, I don't think they're gonna win the tournament or anything, but maybe a little bit of a run here from a team that has certainly underperformed its expectations in conference play. 8's a little. I made it 10 also, Matt, so I could potentially take 8, but I think San Diego's kind of a feisty dog. They do have some size themselves, so I'm going to stay away here.
Yeah, I don't think San Diego's helpless, right? They're leaps and bounds better than Portland. You talk about bottom tier teams in the WCC. They are categorically better. I do not think they are a punching bag. So yeah, that's why I'm staying away, even though I do think there is some price value on the Dons. All right, best bet recap here. Let's get to a pretty long section of chat mob questions. Ky, start us off here, sir.
Yeah, going against some chat mobbers, I think Austin Peay +2 is my best bet today. It's sort of like Murray State. We've been waiting on the Govs to play well all year. Now's the time. This is the OVC tournament. They've done well in this tournament in years past. You have the best player in the OVC on your team in Terry Taylor. You have arguably the 2 best players on the floor when you add Jordan Adams to that. It's time to step up. Both these teams split the series during the season. EKU won by 5, P won by 15. There's no doubt Eastern Kentucky's the hotter team right now. I'm just looking for a total board blowout for the Govs and for P to actually close out on some shooters this time against EKU. Austin Peay +2, best bet.
Yeah, P's got to take care of the ball, but I certainly lean that way, Ky. I made them ever so slight favorite, so I won't go jinx you by putting my other bet jinx on you, but I lean that way. My best bet, guys, is coming from Arch Madness, and it's a total. This is probably going to surprise folks, but Southern Illinois, Bradley, I'm going under in this one. Both teams shorthanded. Marcus Damask not returning for Southern Illinois. Unfortunately, he's officially out for the tournament. And Bradley, I mean, they just have nobody left at this point. Yeah. Childs, Kingsby, and Nolan are suspended. Ari Boya is hurt. Jay Sean Henry is almost certainly not going to play per Brian Wardle. I don't see how there's points here. I think this is super slow. As teams really try to value possessions in the postseason. So I'm trying to get the updated number here.
I'm looking at
oh God, it's been bet way down. I'm not really excited about this.
127.5 is what I'm looking at, Jim. Is that what you see too? 128.
That is what I see. I don't think I'm gonna pivot and make Oklahoma -2 my best bet here, guys.
Wow, love that quick transition. If you want some more time, Jim, I can fill for you if you want.
No, I'm good. It was 129.5 when the show started, and I don't really need to lose 2 points of value on a best bet, so I will leave that total alone. I'll take Oklahoma -2, and then the other bet I took on the show was Radford -2.
The sharps are on to you, Jim. Must be encouraging to some degree, but I like Boomer Sooner as well. I'm going to keep it tight today. George Washington, unlike Jim, my best bet got some steam in my favor throughout this show. I believe +8, +7.5 is where it has climbed to. I am taking the Colonials today. They got up pretty big yesterday on Fordham and then took a nap second half. I was not very impressed with the way they defended, but much better matchup with George Mason. Obviously, they're a better team than Fordham, but they don't have the massive size up front, which is where GW can be exploited on the interior. James Bishop is an elite playmaker. Jamison Battle on the wing making shots. I just think they keep it close in what should be a fairly low-scoring game. A tough spot with the back-to-back, but I think there's just too much value not to take them. So don't let me down, Mr. Jamie on Christian. Let's go Colonials.
Yeah, I hope they have a better performance than Fordham, Matthew.
I hope so, too.
Round 2 chat mob. Let's do it. Should we do it?
Let's do it.
All right. Lots to sift through, so I might have missed some. Sorry, guys. There's just a ton of chatter today. I like it. Lots of fire. Harry asks about North Alabama versus North Florida in an ASUN battle. Honestly, no opinion. Maybe slight lean. We'll say North Alabama, Matt, but I've been leaning towards them all year. My number must be just a bit off on these guys.
Yeah, North Alabama started off red hot, then lost a bunch of games and closed down the stretch. Tough schedule kind of played into that too. I think they're a lot better than their record indicates. But North Florida sort of has that same underachievement dynamic as well. Matthew Driscoll in that zone is kind of a tough matchup in the tournament. No play for me, but definitely an interesting game to watch here.
It's a home game for North Florida. They're one of the 2 hosts for the tournament, so keep that in mind.
We got Job with Portland and Santa Clara. What an exciting game this one is, Jim, in the WCC. Well, you don't want to take Portland, or do you?
I mean, if Ahmed Ali plays, this number's probably too high, but I just
yeah.
have absolutely no interest in backing Portland right now. They're lost. They don't have a coach. They're going in the interim route right now. Latrell Jones, another key perimeter piece, missed last game too. So I don't know what we're getting with Portland here. It's a stay away until we know health status there.
Yeah, don't know status of Keyshawn Justice or DJ Mitchell, 2 starters for Clara, but they play Gonzaga pretty damn close in Spokane without those guys. So again, injuries don't matter. Who knows?
How about Matthew with SIUE Bradley? We kind of touched on already with Jim's. He was kind of getting into the under situation.
SIU Carbondale. Bradley.
Carbondale, excuse me.
Yeah.
I can't believe they put a line in this game. I mean, how did you handicap this game? It's impossible.
I kind of think Carbondale wins.
Yeah, I lean that way too.
It's over 2 now, so and that's shaky for me. But I tried to estimate a line here, Matt, and I made it 4. So I would certainly lean towards.
I did 3. Okay, so we're close-ish. I went 3.
Good job, guys.
Thank you.
How about Southern Utah going for first place in the Big Sky with Eastern Washington losing? They're playing Portland State. A lean from me actually to Southern Utah, Jim. Portland State's just been disappointing all season, even at home here.
Yeah, Portland State's been better in the second legs because their press really gets into teams and it's just it wears them down. But first leg, I'm not sure they can hold up against the downhill attack that Southern Utah offers here.
Agree. I lean that way as well.
How about Siena and Canisius? We talked about a little bit how Jalen Pickett's just not been himself this year. It seems like he just doesn't care, to be honest. Maybe they'll start caring in the postseason tournament, but until I know motivation for this Siena team, Matt, I can't really back them or even fade them because I just don't know what to do with this team.
Yeah, and they get caught up in these really slow drag out games where it just feels like even covering 5 points feels like 15. So at 6.5, I want no part of Siena here. I made it right around what the number is, so no play for me.
I made it a little higher than the number, but I don't trust Siena as a favorite at all. So not touching this one with a poll.
A couple more here. Florida Atlantic and Middle Tennessee. Yikes. And talk about ugly games here. I mean, my number, Jim, kind of leans towards Middle Tennessee, but that's been a failed endeavor a few times this season.
Yeah, they're ravaged by injuries still. I'm not sure the market has totally picked up on. They're missing 3 guys that would certainly be starting. So I don't have much interest in them. FAU is a big favorite, though. Also, not a lot of interest either. Matt.
Yeah, Ingram back last 2 games. That's the key thing for FAU. So at least he's in there. He's basically everything runs through him when he's on the floor.
All right, we got TCU West Virginia. TCU's been pretty scrappy as a dog, Matthew, but West Virginia can do no wrong. I guess they technically lost to Baylor, but still a great effort put forth by them. Who do you like in this one?
I guess I lean West FA because it's a tough schedule spot for TCU. Both teams with 1 day rest, but TCU having to travel, make multiple trips in that short time span. Doesn't feel like a game where they come out with a ton of gusto, I guess.
Jared Nichols, we talked Nicholls State McNeese already. We will talk Bellarmine Stetson next, guys.
Ooh.
Hey, I like Bellarmine, Jim, in general. Let's see if they can win this tournament and make things interesting for tournament settings.
Yeah, line-wise, I thought this was high, to be honest, but I do love Bellarmine. I think they're a fun team, a difficult team to prepare for. Stetson needs to make shots because Bellarmine really packs it in on defense. But yeah, six feels a little high there.
It does. Stetson will zone too, so that kind of disrupts Bellarmine, pristine execution, motion offense that's basically put every team's head on swivels this season.
Okay, last one, guys. Here we go. It's Iowa and Nebraska. Nebraska, I think they're on a major cover streak right now as a dog, Jim. But it's Iowa. Maybe Teddy Allen's absence affects them more on the road against a better opponent. What do you think?
I think this is Iowa's senior night. Trying to verify that real quick. Nope, they've got another one. They play Wisconsin on Sunday. Good luck, Badgers. I would probably lean towards Nebraska then. They have been very feisty. No, Teddy Allen has almost been addition by subtraction. So I would lean Nebraska's way, but no interest in fading Iowa.
Yeah, kind of 4-2 is against the spread the last 6 games for the Huskers. I think even better if you extrapolate that to when they came off COVID. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of credit to Hoiberg to what they've done post terrible shutdown.
Been scrappy. All right, Matt, that's it. Wrap us up.
Folks, that concludes today's show. Thank you for the rapid-fire questions in the mob form.
Hey, lock it up, chat. Let's talk basketball in there. Lock it up. I want to see you lock it up on Friday.
We've thrown haymakers. I love haymakers.
We got a couple bad apples, man.
Hey, everyone's welcome.
We are here to talk basketball. Welcome. That's what we are doing. Come on.
Well, we're down to talk economy, politics as well if we have time next show. But it's a full slate today, so we did not. That concludes our show today. Again, SPRodds.com. Make sure you're line shopping at all times. SPRpicks.com/NCAAB. And smash with an iron hammer that like button. We appreciate you. We'll see you back tomorrow, same time, 9 Central. Until then, good luck tonight.